5 Easy Ways to Infect Your Mac with Malware. Most Mac users don't worry about security too much. Since the majority of malware targets Windows and macOS does a good job of keeping you safe out of the box. It's easy to get complacent. However, there are Mac security threats in the wild, and many of them come from user behaviors. Here are some dangerous practices that can infect your Mac with malicious software. The easiest way to mess up your system is to install sketchy Mac apps from random corners of the web. In many cases, distributors of pirated software are only interested in making paid tools available for free. However, you can never fully trust cracked software, as there's no telling what someone could have added into the package along the way. Indeed, many historical examples of macOS malware have arrived in pirated software downloads. The safest places to install Mac apps are the Mac App Store and directly from trusted developers. By default, macOS's Gatekeeper feature will only let you run apps from authorized developers, and displays a warning if you try to run an untrusted app. Often, a legitimate developer might not have the money to register with Apple. You can step around this warning when that happens, but it's important to make sure you trust the app when you do this. Everyone gets tired of seeing prompts to update their Mac or its software. But leaving your system unpatched makes you much more susceptible to attack. Often, macOS system updates fix known vulnerabilities to keep you safe. If you continue to run an outdated version for months, you could fall victim to an attack that Apple has long since patched. Keeping yourself on the latest OS version means you're one step ahead of malicious actors. This is also the case for apps on your computer, especially your browser. There have been historical cases where popular Mac apps became infected with malware, such as the BitTorrent client transmission in 2016. People who had the app on their system but never bothered to update it were open to attack for some time. Thankfully, macOS makes it easy to update your apps and system. On macOS Mojave and newer, open the App Store and check the Updates tab to download new versions of App Store apps. You'll find macOS software updates under System Preferences greater than Software Update. For apps downloaded from other sources, you'll need to open them and check for updates manually. You'll usually find a check for updates under the Help or App menu. At other times, you'll find it in the App menu on the About page. Once upon a time, browser plugins like Flash Player and Java were essential parts of the web, as they enabled you to enjoy multimedia content on all sorts of sites. However, with today's web, these runtimes have fallen out of favor and barely anyone needs to use them. Very few websites require Java or Flash now. Adobe plans to retire Flash at the end of 2020. And nearly all browsers have blocked Java for years. So you likely haven't opened yourself up to attack in this way. But it's still wise to check if you're using these plugins and remove them if so. To check, open System Preferences under the Apple menu. If you see an entry for Flash Player or Java, you have it installed. Get rid of Flash Player by visiting Adobe's Mac Flash Player uninstall page. Under the Download the Adobe Flash Player uninstaller header, click the download text next to Mac OS X version 10.6 and later. Run the tool and it will remove Flash Player. Library, Preferences, Macromedia, Flash Player, Library, Caches, Adobe, Flash Player. How to remove Java from your Mac. Removing Java from macOS is a bit more complicated than installing it. First, press CMD plus space to launch Spotlight Search and open Terminal. Once the terminal window is open, paste each of the below commands one at a time and press Enter to run them. Sudo irmfr, Library, Internet Plugins, JavaPlet Plugin, Plugin sudo irmfr, Library, Preference Panes, Java Control Panel, Pref Pane sudo irmfr tilde, Library, Application, Support, Oracle, Java. We've looked further at why Java isn't as big of a security risk nowadays. Most people know Java is insecure. But is it still the most dangerous piece of desktop software? Can it still cause problems on Windows, macOS and Linux? Let's take a look and find out. As we mentioned earlier, macOS has several built-in layers of protection. One of these, System Integrity Protection, SIP, was introduced with OS X El Capitan. Essentially, SIP prevents users and programs from making changes. What is System Integrity Protection on your Mac? We explain what SIP does and how it affects macOS software. The addition of SIP stopped a lot of Mac deep system tweaks from working. As a result, you might look to disable SIP so you can use these old tools again. While it is possible to disable, doing so is a bad idea, as turning off SIP drastically reduces your security. With no barrier to your protected OS files, malware could get in and wreak havoc. There are certain troubleshooting circumstances where you do need to turn off SIP for a short time. But you should always turn it back on right away to reduce risk to your system. This is also the case for Gatekeeper, the feature that prevents unauthorized apps from running on your system. As mentioned, macOS allows you to allow apps only from the App Store.